So, a little while ago, I did a video and explained how Avengers Secret Wars was going to be kind of a soft reboot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I gave my opinion that I thought what Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers were trying to do was way too complicated. And I offered two ideas that would work for a reboot versus what they're trying to accomplish. Now, one of those ideas really sparked interest, and people said some nice things about it, and a few people asked me to expound on those ideas. So I decided to use this opportunity to talk about how I would use Captain America to reboot the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast, where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. YouTube is doing some really dumb decisions when it comes to how they're going to change the platform, so every like and comment and share really helps me out. I want to just express my gratitude for you doing that. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my Substack, studiojakemedia.substack.com. The link is in the description of the video. You can subscribe at different tiers that unlock different perks, and some of the rewards are pretty cool. Thank you in advance. So like I said, I did a video saying that I thought how Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers rebooting the MCU in this manner was overly complicated, and I offered two suggestions that I thought would help. One stood out to a few people. Some people asked me about them in comment sections, some expressed interest, but two subscribers approached me and said, "Hey, you should really expand on this idea. I think that this is a really good way to talk about it." Now, this probably won't happen because, like I said, Kevin Feige is already doing the Avengers Secret Wars, but hey, this is fun and it's my channel. I can talk about what I want. So I'm going to explain to you how the Marvel Cinematic Universe should be rebooted using Captain America. Okay, so what I would do is I would just have preferably Avengers Doomsday, but since Secret Wars is kind of already in production, I guess it would have to be Secret Wars. I would just let it be a finale, let everyone have their last hurrah. They can have the final battle between Doctor Doom and Galactus. We say goodbye to everyone. They do like a montage of all the highlights of the Marvel Cinematic Universe throughout the years. And then finally, it goes to credits, and the post-credit scene is Captain America from Endgame when he was tasked with going around and returning all the Infinity Stones from the other dimensions. He does this, and then he reintroduces himself to Peggy Carter, who is one of the top agents at the SSR, the precursor to S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, maybe there could be some tension between them because he's been gone for so long. He couldn't get back to her, but he ends up falling in love with her and she with him, and they reunite, and he decides he's going to stay out of the fray. We introduce Nick Fury's father, who of course is the white Nick Fury that we know. He's maybe one of the new up-and-coming agents of the SSR. He's a top field agent right now, and we see his wife and maybe baby Nick Fury or young Nick Fury, however you want to do it. I should say Nick Fury Jr., and this shows just what's going on because there's also an up-and-coming agent named Brian Braddock who goes by the codename Britannic. What can happen is an organization steals something important. Maybe in this world it could be the Tesseract, but I don't think we should use the Tesseract again. I think what it should be is adamantium. So we'll say AIM because Hydra has been overused. AIM steals some adamantium, and what happens? Well, Captain America, Steve Rogers, realizes the imminent threat of this, and he decides to come back into action, revealing himself to the world as Captain America. He gets his shield back, and he assembles a sort of proto-Avengers. We already know that young Hank Pym is there, so he could be there. He could be Ant-Man. Janet Van Dyne is there. She could be the Wasp. So right off the bat, you have three characters. And you could also bring in Britannic or Braddock. He is a member. You could also add in Rage, who is, a black superhero. He was a member of the Avengers. He's younger, but maybe he has his superpowers and he has little control over them like he does in the comics. For a while, he worked with the New Warriors, but Captain America kind of took him under his wing and he became an Avenger in later comics. You could introduce him, and then also you could have a mysterious scientist by the name of Hank McCoy. He comes along because a certain concerned party is worried about the adamantium getting into the wrong hands. Lo and behold, you have the X-Men connection, and you can establish that mutants exist in this timeline. They assemble this. They go through this convoluted plot where they're trying to figure out what they're doing with the adamantium, and it turns out AIM is working with a mysterious group called Weapon X. And as a result, these Avengers, they have to fight a group of these mutants, which can include Wolverine, Sabretooth, Silver Fox, Omega Red, and I believe the other one is called Maverick. So they have to battle them and whatnot. And this leads to the conclusion where we discover MODOK, the real MODOK, not the fake one in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, even though I'm wearing the shirt. He is behind the whole thing. They have a showdown with him, and they save the day, and Captain America becomes the new leader of these Avengers. And as a result of this, Braddock, he's recalled back to England. We find out he is a British guy. He goes back to England, and MI6 informs him that he will no longer be using the codename Britannic. He is now Captain Britain. And there we have the connection into Excalibur, which is sort of a European version of the Avengers. They also include some mutants in their group. Some people debate if they're an X-Men group or an Avengers group. It doesn't matter. The point is, they're there. Hank McCoy returns to Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, and we are introduced to Professor X, who now has a connection with Nick Fury. Post-credit scene, we see Peggy Carter pass away. Old man Steve decides to return home at this point, and he passes the shield on to Bucky Barnes, who he rescued from Russian control, and Bucky is now Captain America. That is how I would reintroduce the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Short, sweet, to the point. None of the bluster, none of the grandeur. And you could even do in-between films. So you could do one where Chris Evans, he probably has at least 3 or 4 more Captain America movies in him. You can do the in-between ones. You can see how S.H.I.E.L.D. gets established. You can do all these other twists and turns with the story. I think it would work well. Now, tell me, is that a great way to reboot the MCU? Do you like this idea? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments section below, but I think that is what they need to do. Fans are so disappointed with how Captain America's legacy was handled in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it came to the multiverse saga. No one is impressed by it, yours truly included. I think maybe if they did something like this, it could work in their favor. That is what I would do. Bring back a beloved actor to play Steve Rogers and Captain America. It could work out in the end. I think that that would satisfy people. I think that is a solid idea for a reboot. You could call it Avengers Return of Captain America, and I guarantee you it would do amazing. Now, who would I get to direct it? I would get Matthew Vaughn, who successfully rebooted X-Men First Class, or rebooted the X-Men with X-Men First Class, and I would get some solid writers. You have to get some solid writers. Marvel has been hiring all these activists to be writers, and they have been terrible. They have been a huge letdown. Bring back a real writer to the writer's room. I think that that could work out great. I think that would be fantastic. I think that that could all come together in one epic way, and one that Marvel would benefit from. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment to what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post new vidcasts, and consider becoming a channel member. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my Substack. The link is in the description of the video. It's studiojakemedia.substack.com. You can subscribe at different tiers that unlock different perks, including getting able to pick the topic for the website or for this vidcast. So pretty cool. Thank you in advance. At that same website, there's a conveniently titled Buy My Books section where you can pick up one or all four of my novels. They're all available. I've got links all over the place, but you can pick them all up at Amazon.com. Leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake. 'Cause I've been living